Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And we have a story here that will strike fear into the heart of anyone who cares about the environment. There's a village. It was told it was going to have wind turbines, next to it, on its doorstep. And they fought and they won. And then there was an appeal and they fought and they won that. And then the people who wanted this wind farm went and got the law changed. And then applied that law retrospectively, overwriting all the cases that went before, and this village now is going to have these big bird choppers put on without consent, without any democratic mandate, and without the will of the people in that village. It's going to destroy the environment, destroy the views of one of the most beautiful places in Scotland, simply so that these people can look virtuous and go, oh look, we've got a windmill. Meanwhile, China unveils its new coal train, which will hold 200 million tonnes of coal, more than Scotland has used since the Industrial Revolution. Really, Scotland, what is the point of all these bird choppers when you get the likes of China coming up and destroying everything overnight? It makes no difference whatsoever. And yet you're going to destroy Scotland for it. What a bunch of tossers. But what's more important here is the lack of democracy, the lack of engagement, and the fact that people can be rode roughshod over simply for these virtue signalling tossers to have their big windmills. Let's have a look at the story. Now, what's frightening about this is it can happen to anyone, and you have no say. And even if you go and try and appeal it, because of the change of the law, there is no appeals process. They literally can just turn up and go, yeah, we're putting it here. I don't want it there. Tough. There is nothing. And that's because they're pushing this all the time. And yet, like I say, one train, 200 million tonnes of coal a year on one single train for China. What difference does it make? None at all. Zero. Nilch. Nada. Nothing. And yet they're going to bankrupt the country, destroy the economy, destroy the natural beauty of Scotland, simply to make a point. Unbelievable, isn't it? Anyway, the new ScotGov rules, which doomed a village's wind farm fight. Campaigners have been left aghast after the fight against a wind farm development was lost, just after they believed they had secured victory in having it blocked. People living in the village of, I'm going to say Carsfrane, but I may be wrong with that one, in Dumfries and Galloway, believed they had successfully argued against a plan to build 17 turbines, some as tall as 150 metres, in nearby Shepherd's Rig. Now, if I've got the name of that village wrong, do apologise, do correct me, but I've never been there, I've never heard it, so I've got no idea. Anyway, not only had the local authority agreed with them, so the local authority agreed with this village, don't have them. The Scottish Government's reporter, to whom developers may appeal, also refused to give the plan the go-ahead. So they didn't want it, the local authority didn't want it, and even the Scottish Government's responsible, commissioner for this thing said, no, it's not the right place, and they said no as well. Yet before their decision could be agreed by ministers, things changed. And now the turbines will be built after all. So the Scottish villagers' fight against this wind farm is documented in the Herald by Sandra Dick. And she's given the Scottish Wind Farms one village battle against turbines. So villagers across accuse the Scottish Government of a kick in the teeth, introducing retrospective laws as 8 months after it was blocked, planning policy radically changed, and now the green light was given. So they've gone back and changed it and then said, oh yeah, but now it applies to the past, even though we've refused it before. Because they're so desperate to get this stuff done. So in the intervening months, the Scottish Government brought in the National Planning Framework 4, NPF4 as it's known, voted on by MSPs and in January this year and activated in February. While the actual plans for the wind farm, knocked back at 2 out of the 3 levels of government, had not changed, the ground had shifted beneath the villagers' feet. Imagine working hard, seeing these plans come up and working hard to defeat them, and then defeating them at one level, defeating them at a second level. You think you're winning. And then they change the law. But they change the law in such a way that not only do you not have a democratic mandate to change it or even appeal it, there is literally nothing you can do. The National Planning Framework gives guidance to Scotland's local authorities on how they should structure their planning regulations through their own local development plans, and what should be prioritised and what planners should consider when deciding what goes ahead. A lengthy document which covers topics from housing to biodiversity. It particularly enshrines infrastructure schemes that contribute to renewable generation. In other words, what it's actually doing is prioritising bird choppers. Now look at that. That would be a beautiful scene of of Scotland there if it wasn't for those huge alien monstrosities spread out across the land. Ugly. It's like saying, look, we can take something beautiful and we can make it ugly, and we're going to do it on purpose for no reason whatsoever, for virtue signalling reasons. It makes no difference to what is happening in the world. But we're going to destroy our little part of the world just so we can feel better about ourselves. Anyway, these are given significant weight under the new regime. This is this bird chopping stuff and all the renewable stuff. With the overall intent of energy planning policy going forward to encourage, promote and facilitate all forms of renewable energy development onshore and offshore. And when you actually do the maths on how much energy it takes to make one of those, they never generate in their lifetime enough energy to pay for their own energy of creation. It's a weird thing, isn't it? Under its energy policy heading, the NPF4 states planners should be encouraged to promote and facilitate all forms of renewable energy development onshore and offshore, and this includes energy generation, storage, new and replacement transmission and distribution infrastructure, and emerging low carbon and zero emission technology, including hydrogen, carbon capture, utilisation and storage. It all sounds bullshit to me. I don't know about you, because none of it works, none of it's real, all of it costs more energy to do than it makes. It's unreliable, it's not good, it haven't got the infrastructure, and it destroys the environment. If you truly want cheap, clean energy that won't destroy the environment, dig a hole, into that hole, build a nuclear reactor, cover it up and put a park above it, or wildland, and let the animals roam free. All you need is a small building for access. You can do that very nice and blend it into the surroundings. On wind farms in particular, this is what it says, the local development planning says they should seek to realise the area's full potential for electrical heat from renewable low carbon blah blah blah. Development proposals for all forms of renewable low carbon and zero emissions will be supported, and these include wind farms, including repowering, extending the life of existing wind farms. And effectively, it means the fight is over, because the plans on this new LDF that they've brought in mean that they have to provide and prioritise wind farms over everything else. There are no avenues to appeal, and there is nothing campaigners can now do to stop the wind farm being built. And anecdotally, other developments have also been affected, though their stories have yet to emerge. They've had this because they've changed that NPF4, sorry. They now have the local authority are obliged by the law to build this. They are obliged. They have targets to build, and they can't refuse permission. They're not allowed. The local authority is now not allowed to refuse permission. So the energy companies can come and go, yeah, there's a nice field, let's put one of these big bird choppers in it. And you living in that village, tough. You can do nothing. You can go to your council, they can do nothing. The council can go to the government reporter, the commissioner on this, and they can do nothing. The only person who can possibly stop it would be the minister. But the minister is the one that's brought in the NPF4. He's not going to sit there and go, no, because then he'd be gainsaying his own law. So he's not going to stop it either. So basically, if you live somewhere nice and someone wants to destroy it by putting one of these big windmills up, tough shit. there is nothing you can do. Hey, welcome to modern Scotland. I'll finish there and come up. I mentioned that train. Now, that Chinese train that carries 200 million tonnes of coal a year, that's only one train. You've got to remember all the other trains that are carrying coal. The fact that they're building 2 coal-powered stations a week in China, and will continue to do so for some time, goes to show that you could close the whole of Scotland down and we all live, in caves. The whole of Great Britain. You could close the whole of Great Britain down. And that would make no difference whatsoever. You'd be committing economic destruction on a scale never before seen. And it would make zero difference because of China. If we truly want to save the world, stop buying shit from China. And do you know who makes these bird choppers mostly? Let's hope the irony isn't lost on these people. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. And if you do live in a village and are about to put bird choppers up, I'm very sorry. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and fight the fight. Bye.